let me say this first. When I hear people talk, and there are people I respect, either as friends or people whose intelligence I always respect, I get very worried. And I say there are two reasons why they will be saying the things they are saying. One of them is they are daft. I mean, they are intellectually challenged in some way. The other one is they have been bought. So I have a problem placing some of my friends where they belong. But that's my own opinion. Now, why do I say this? There are certain things that you only subject to common sense. And even if I wanted to defend somebody, even if I'm under somebody's payroll, so long as I have my brains, I must do it in a way that leaves me with a face, in a convincing, logical way. Now, if you say Sifuna is a useful idiot, is inconsequential, you talk of wishful thinking, you say he was defeated by Sakaja. If you subject that to some just little brain power, not even brain power, even common sense, you realize there's not much you are saying. You begin by saying, why are we all talking about Sifuna? Why? If Sifuna is inconsequential, if he's just a useful idiot, why are we all now talking about Sifuna? Why is the entire media capturing Sifuna? Why will you, if you publish a newspaper today, if Sifuna is not at the top there, you won't sell the newspaper. That's simple test. Issues of whether Sakaja won or not. People lose elections today, they win tomorrow. But the dynamics why Sakaja won are so obvious to everybody. The Sonko factor, the Kamba votes from 2013, 2014. Yeah, so it's a very simple thing. And now this trying to wish somebody away. And that's why I'm saying, is it you are really intellect persuading you, or is it you are speaking for somebody? Either way, you are getting it wrong, because if you are using your intellect, you have not quite deployed it well. If you have been bought by somebody, you should do it in a more intelligent way. Because this is something you can see what is happening. When Gachagua was impeached, before he was impeached, I kept advising Ruto. I kept saying, look, you are making a monumental blunder, as people would say. You cannot replace mountain votes with Luo votes. Now, Gachagua is a nightmare to Ruto. We all know that. It's again common sense. But I'm using Gachagua also to make a point about Gachagua. I was among the first people to say this man was on the rise. If you see, this is the man everybody is listening to. Is the man being captured by media and everybody else. And you are still dismissing him. Now look where Gachagua is. So this country now has three people who enjoy enormous political power. You can wish them away, you are justified. That's you. Power in these countries lies with William Ruto, Rigathi Gachagua, and Edwin Sifuna. That is the naked truth. You only need to subject it to common sense. If you think Sifuna is nothing, and those people you are saying are things, let them go out there, we can see. The test is always easy. People try to challenge Raila. Oh, Raila is nothing. They try to go somewhere. They can address a few madmen in the stadium and maybe 3 dogs. When Raila appears somewhere, he doesn't need to have announced. Everybody is there. And don't you use the idea of Raila never going to State House as an excuse or as a reason for that matter. We all know what happened in this country. Raila won the election in 2007. Even Ruto says it today. We know what happened in 2013. The Supreme Court nullified the election of 2017. We know what happened in 2022. So you cannot use the fact of Raila not going to State House to say that having crowds never gave anybody power. Crowds are a big test of somebody's popularity and his chances of taking leadership. It does not automatically translate to the votes. But surely if you are standing against me and we are running for member of parliament for Amis, where I come from, and I can't attract even 200 people, and you attract 10,000, I still think I can beat you? What magic will I have used? So, please, those of you who work for the other side, or whoever side, You can only be useful to these people if you help them understand the situation. And the situation in the country today, Sifuna is lethal. He's changing the political equation. If you are not accepting it, you are slipping through a revolution. Sifuna is activating a demographic that has been least interested in our politics, and for good reason. These young people, we are telling them to register, they don't. Those are the people now Sifuna is reaching, and they were in Kitengela. And you ain't seen nothing yet. Continue with your denial, continue misadvising those people who give you some little task. The truth is, you are doing a lot of disservice if you don't tell your principals to go back to the drawing board. Tell them this is a tsunami. We have to mitigate this tsunami because Sifuna is a phenomenon. You ignore it at your own peril. I rest. Oh, there's something you had asked about Ruto being the one designing. It's possible. This is politics. We are told about how Moi created Kibaki and Matiba. This is how politics works. And it's not just Kenya, it's everywhere. If Ruto thinks you can destabilize the opposition by creating a third force, so be it. But remember, if we are to believe the idea of Moi creating Matiba, Matiba almost swept Moi off his feet. He didn't know Matiba will get to where he got. So you can think you are creating Sifuna and these young people, which is possible, but this is something that can get its own momentum to a point where instead of it breaking the opposition, it divides you. But the possibility is always there that he could design it that way. But I very much doubt because it will be such a big gamble. Such a big gamble.
Very profound statement, especially for the young politicians, and them really coming across as, really ruffling the feathers within the established systems that have been there. That we are lacking maybe the discernment on how to handle those people who have been there for the longest time. We might be young and we might be having the energy, and we feel maybe also the ideas are outmoded, they're outlandish, they're not, in tandem with the current epoch of time that we're living in. And we have, sort of the impetuousness, for lack of a better word, that sometimes blinds us on how to handle, the elderly around us. And it reminds me maybe of the sons of Noah. And one time we had one son seeing his father naked, and he went and called up upon the other brothers. But this son was actually laughing, at his dad. He's seeing him, step through the bath. But these are the sons that came, and they took the drapes, and they didn't even look at the nakedness of the father. They looked behind as they went to uncover his father. And this would be a moment. Sometimes we might say, yes, these are the leaders who are not here, but there's a way we can handle internal affairs, even within parties, instead of holding, conferences sometimes. I'm not really siding with what is really happening, and I'm not on the side of anyone, but I'm just latching on what Prof. you're really saying, which is very profound. Then how do we handle the spaces of where we have our elderlies in our culture as well, where we espouse the spirit of Ubuntuism, you are because I am. Still, we in the African setting, and for me, the elderlies they stand, at the core of making and giving stability in a society. As much as sometimes the ideas they can't really make sense to us, but if we listen keenly, the advantage of experience and wisdom that really comes cannot, be taken for granted. And nowadays we don't see a lot of gray hairs because our older men, everyone is actually in the barbers, trying to dye and to make and their hair still be black. But we'll walk around and see the gray hairs around us, and we'll bow down. Maybe not really figure. I'm just speaking in a figure of speech here, and appreciate the wisdom that really is stripping off their tongues as well. So I think could you've raised a very important point that I think I'd listened to that and said this could be the moment of Sifuna, but how he handles it as well, it can make him and break him as a politician as well. So does he listen, or does he accommodate him also being in a very contentious position as a Secretary General, where do you hold the, you know, the aspirations of a party? Because you have a leadership before you. Yeah. And of course, leadership, be it good or bad, sometimes you have to sit down and solve matters within the parties. So if you come and you're giving and blaring the horns from one side, and you're saying this is your opinion, this is not the opinion of the party, we fail to understand as one inch because you're speaking from both sides of the mouth.